Well, victims wait so long to come forward. One of the reasons they do is because they've been groomed. And they, as a result of being groomed, they blame themselves for the abuse. They cannot understand when they are young, at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, even older, that the abuse, and it's hard for adults to see it this way, that the abuse was wrong. Because the abuse, when it occurs over a period of time, becomes normalized in the child's life. It starts out as somebody who's trying to be nice to the kid, somebody who's giving the kid presents, and it flows very slowly like a lazy river into a pool where the kid slips and doesn't realize that they're drowning, but they are. And the problem is that it takes a long time for their maturation process, for the developmental process to take over and realize that what was done to them was harmful. The other big problem is that they're embarrassed. As kids become more, develop a sexual identity, and they start having sex with boys, start having sex with girls, or girls start having sex with boys, they realize that, wait a second, what was done to me by this adult was wrong. Whether it was a male on a male or a male on a female or whatever combination one wants to do, they realize it's wrong, but they can't say anything. They go, oh my God, maybe this wasn't right. But they're too embarrassed to say anything because they think they'll be blamed by their parents, they'll be made fun of by their peers. In the case of boys, they think that they'll be called homosexuals, they'll be derided that way. With girls, people will think that they're sluts, and they internalize it. And in some cases, I've had a number of cases over the last 30 years where once the grooming takes place and the niceties go through, then in order to ensure the silence of a child who maybe starts asking questions are threats to the child's family, threats to the child himself. And so the child wants to protect himself, protect herself, protect his or her family, so they don't talk. And that's why we see today, if you look at most of the cases that are brought in sexual abuse, civil cases around the country, most people are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. I have only had a handful of cases, as have my colleagues around the country who do this work, where the people who report the abuse and who seek to get damages from the child molester or the organization that employs the child molester does so when they're a teenager or a young person. Almost never happens. And that's why we see cases of 30, 40, and 50 people in 30s, 40s, and 50s. And that's why, again, just tying into it, the statute of limitations is so important, because most statute of limitations end when the person is in there around 21 years old. Some statutes allow for the person to have a cause of action, that is, to have a right to go into court when they realize the connection between the abuse and their current problems, whether those current problems are related to substance abuse, relationships, sexual problems. But in general, those people who make those connections are adults.